Okay, so let's get this party started. This is beginner yarn and it is so freaking nice to learn with. So if you don't have this yarn, it's t-shirt yarn and it's thick and it's easy to see the stitches, and if you're able to get it, I would definitely invest in this if you are just starting out. So let's get started. First I'm going to show you a double crochet, and I'm just going to start with a slip knot. To make a double crochet, we are going to create a loop, and let's just start here. Okay, so pretend you have a loop on your hook already, and then this is the circle. To do a double crochet, you're gonna loop over your hook, stick your hook through the stitch, pull up a loop, and then loop over your hook again. So that's gonna give you 4 loops. You're gonna pull the 4th one through 2, then you have to loop over again to create 3, and then pull through both. So whatever stitch you're working into in your project, that is what this circle is. This is the stitch we're working into, and I'll show you again a double crochet. So your hook is already in the loop from before. You're gonna loop over, go into the stitch, pull your yarn through, and I always keep my tail over here. I'm right-handed, so it will be opposite if you're left-handed. Pull through and then loop over again. So then we have 4 again. You're gonna pull that 4th one through 2, you'll get down to 2, and then loop over and pull through both. That's your double crochet. Now let's show you one more time. So loop over into the stitch, pull up, loop over, pull through 2, loop over, pull through the last 2. There's 3 double crochets. Now if you know how to do a double crochet, you can make a granny square. So many things, so many patterns are you use double crochet. That's the basis of them. So if you know how to do this, you can make so many things. So yeah, I'm gonna go on and show you how to make a granny square using double crochets, and we're gonna use this thick yarn, but that's how you use that's how you do a double crochet. Okay, so let's continue. I'm gonna start with 8 double crochets. I've got 4, 5, 6, 7. This yarn is really great to use if you have arthritis or you have trouble moving your fingers because it is so thick. It's also, it's t-shirt yarn, so it's polyester and it's really soft, so it's not hard to pull the loops through. Like some yarns can be pretty difficult to move around and you have to put a lot of pressure on your fingers. So this is a good one if you have anything like that you struggle with. So I have my 8 double crochets. I'm just gonna pull my tail and tighten that circle right there, that slip knot we started with. Pull the tail, and then I'm gonna connect it with a slip stitch. So I'm gonna go back and find this first stitch we did. My hook's a little bit big, so you can either put it in the top of the first one, or I'm just placing it in the very first slip stitch I did, so you can kind of see there. It doesn't matter as long as it's connected and it forms a round. So there's your first round. Let's keep going with this granny square. Let's change colors. So to change colors, I'm just going to connect my next yarn, and I'm using a similar size. A lot of the t-shirt yarns are the same size. They'll vary a little bit, but it usually is fine. So I'm just gonna pull it through and tighten this one, and I'm just gonna leave it because I might go back to the purple. I haven't decided yet. So we're just gonna start working with this pink. You'll see here, so we can count. There's 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're gonna start. This is technically part of this one. This is our first thing that we started. It just makes, it's gonna make that one a little bit thicker, but that's fine. I'm going to chain 1, 2, tighten it, and then start 2 over, 1, 2. That's that first slip stitch we ended and started with. So you'd want to ignore that and go 2 over. And I'm gonna do 2 double crochets, chain 1, and 2 more in the same slot. So there's 2, chain 1, 1, 2. And then, okay, so that's 1, 2. We're gonna go over to this slot. And you're gonna do the same thing. You're just doing it between every 2 double crochets. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 more. And there's so many different kinds of granny squares you can make, and you can make literally anything with them. So it's a really good place to start. The shirt I have on today is made from a granny square. Okay. So that one's done. We're just making our corners for the granny squares here. So then we're gonna go 1, 2, 2 more over, and work into this space, this stitch, doing the same thing. 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. So this has formed my 3rd corner, and then we'll finish right here. You can kind of see 1, 2, 1, 2 plus our starting stitch, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. So this is going to set us up for, my hook might be a little too big, but that's okay. This is going to set us up to have a corner. For our granny square. If you don't have a corner, it's not a square. One, 2, chain 1, and then I'm just gonna put a slip stitch here, because we're going to be working into this stitch, so it's fine. And that's the chain 2 we started with. So I'm just slip stitching it to connect it. And then we're going to work into this. Now, if you're changing colors and you know you're done with that color, you can always cut it off. But I'll probably reuse this yarn after this tutorial, so I'm not cutting it, I'm just leaving it. You just have to be careful so it doesn't get in the way. And then basically you just keep doing that same thing. Except this round, we're gonna go ahead and put 3 double crochets instead of 2. Same pattern, same everything. And then between the corner spots, you have a little bit of a space. We're gonna put 1 there as well. So I've got 2, 3, and I'm working into that between space right now. Now I'm gonna go to the corner and do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 more. There's my 3. Okay, so 3, chain 1, 3 more, and that's gonna form that corner we talked about. And you're just doing it in the chain 1 space from the round before. And now that we have 3 in each one, every single round is gonna continue the same way. So you find your in-between ones and your corners, and you do it the exact same way. So I'm doing 3 double crochets in my in-betweens from the round before. So my corner here, my in-between is right here. And then in my corner, in your chain 1 space, I'm doing 3, chain 1, 3 more to continue the corner. And then each round grows a little bit. So you just keep going. Chain 1. And you could stop here if you want a smaller granny square. Typically, I'd say they're like 5 or 6 rounds, just depending on what the project is. I've been working on some really big granny squares because I want to make a shirt out of like one big granny square because I think it'd be cute. So I'm working on that. And I also have seen some patterns for bags with really big granny squares. So I'm in my in-between and then corner. Okay, so after this round, I'm just once again connecting it in the same spot where we chained the yarn with a slip stitch. And you just do whatever you think looks the best. I'm gonna go inside the pink so I can kind of cover it with the purple. And just a slip stitch to close it. And then I would maybe even do one more on top just to connect it better. And then you're kind of covering up that pink there. And then it's a super cute mini granny square. You could always stop here if you wanted, depending on your yarn size, what the vibe is. But I think I want to add one more color. I've been into like pinks, purples, and blues, very cool tones, so we can try this. And if you want this yarn, I'm gonna link it in the description so that you can have an easy beginner yarn to use, because I feel like that's actually pretty important. Another thing you can do is flip it over and start the other direction. So we can start in this hole right here with our 3, and we can kind of cover this up instead of chaining 2, 1, 2, and then having that. And you can connect, you'll connect your one thing, you'll connect with a slip stitch to it. But sometimes even just to have a little more coverage, especially with this bigger yarn, I think it's important. I'm just gonna flip it over and work the opposite way. So you do everything the exact same, but I'm being sure to go through this hole that we have here. So with my 3 double crochets. And you just wanna make sure that that looks good. So there's 1, 2, 3. Crocheting has actually helped me in so many ways. I do it at night when I'm watching TV. It helps me to focus. I was in driving school for a ticket, and my teacher was amazing. He let me bring crochet with me every day, so I ended up making him some stuff because he was just so kind, and he said he knows everyone learns things differently. So I feel like crochet has been a really, really good outlet for me. And I feel like I have never made any money making things in crochet because, well, I feel like I have imposter syndrome as far as being an artist, and I don't want to sell my things because I'm not sure they're good enough, but also I like to give them to my friends and use them as gifts. So that's what is really great for me. Gift giving is definitely like how I show love. So being able to crochet, or even like teaching people how to crochet, is really a good feeling. And I want everyone to be able to enjoy something the same way that I do. You can see this is already like showing so pretty. We're on the back side obviously, but flip it over and it looks really pretty. I make a lot of bags specifically with this kind of yarn. I haven't really perfected that yet, but that is one of my favorite things to do. It just takes a lot of yarn, and I don't have the money right now to buy a bunch. Especially the t-shirt yarn can be kind of expensive because it is a thicker, bigger yarn. I would suggest getting like a small roll to start and really learn with before you started using a lot of it for projects, because it does get pricey. But one day when I have money to spend on it, I will definitely be making more bags because I think they're so cool. Another thing you can do is, and I did this once, is you can make your own t-shirt yarn, which is really cool. If you can cut up sheets, you can cut up t-shirts, different fabrics. The only thing I would say is when I did it, the yarn, or the strips of the fabric that I used were all different sizes because I just went crazy and started cutting. And it's very tenacious, is that the right word? It's very time consuming, and if you don't have some kind of machine that does it for you where you can get the lines straight, your fabric is gonna look pretty wonky, which is fine. Like, I did a rug with all kinds of like scraps and stuff, and I actually thought it looked really cool because it was just a scrap rug, and it felt really good on your feet. So I went to Goodwill and got old sheets, and they had some cool colors I was really happy with. But I used the rug for a little bit in our guest room, and then I think while we were in Scotland for Christmas, my like cat threw up on it, so I threw it away. Actually, no, it was under the Christmas tree as a Christmas tree skirt because our Christmas tree theme was pink. So I threw it away after that. But it would be fun to try and do again. If I had something better to cut the fabric with, I would definitely try again. You can also make really cool placemats, things like that. That's something that I want to try and do. It's just hard when you spend so much money on yarn. You're like, I don't want to just make it into a placemat. So that would be something where I would want to make my own from stuff at Goodwill probably. But there's plenty of videos on that you can look if you're interested. Maybe one day I'll make a video on it. If I ever get to do it again. Who knows? If I ever have time. I mean, even just like this granny square, it could be a pot holder. I'd have to double check on like what the material is. I think it's polyester, so that's probably not great for heat. But it could be cute. Yeah, and I like that I turned it around so I don't have that chain 2 space. So I can just connect it in the top, especially because this is going to be my last round. I think that, and I like to not do this one, I like to go one over. Just for that added, so it's not like lifting up my connecting piece. Okay, so there you have it. She's beautiful. But yeah, you see it could be a pot holder. Now with granny squares, you can also, to get them a perfect size, you can wet them, use a teeny tiny bit of soap, use cold water, and then lay them out flat, or even like pin the corners out, and you can have them very perfectly blocked and squared off if you are making a project. But there is a granny square to start, and I hope you like this video, and I hope that you enjoy your crocheting adventure. Thanks so much.